I just want you to hear me out, okay? This is a message. It's about mastering your mind, mastering your emotions, mastering your thoughts. So, mastering your emotions and mastering your thoughts will change your whole entire life. Never take what anybody else says or does personally. Okay? Remember, I don't know if you watched the video that I did earlier, but hold space for other people. Don't get involved. Don't absorb what, the other person is going through. Be the observer. Um, don't don't linger in that duality. Don't even entertain the duality. Practice neutrality. Practice being the observer. Okay? So don't take what other people do personally because you just don't know what they're going through. Especially if you are on this awakening path and you've been activated, and if you're in the early stages, I can understand struggling with the, getting involved and taking things personally and absorbing and not observing. But if you've been on this path for a while, it's kind of like Awakening 101. Don't get involved. Don't absorb. Ground yourself. Observe. Be the observer. Hold neutrality. Never take what another person says or does personally because you just don't know what they're going through. As an awakened soul, we should know this. So never take what anybody else says or does personally. This is how you start to master your thoughts and your emotions. So for example, if you're offended or sad or depressed and you say something rude like so and so, or Janet makes me, Jim makes me. Listen to the words that I'm saying. Jim makes me. Janet makes me. What does Jim and Janet do? What are they making you? What are they doing to you? How are they making you feel? So he makes me or she makes me, blah, blah, blah. Then you're no longer in charge of your thoughts, of your thought world, or your emotions, because now you are the victim of what other people say and do. Because you're worried about what Janet and Jim are saying and doing, and they got your name in their mouth. And you're like, what about Janet? What about Jim? Don't let Janet and Jim change your energy. Let Janet and Jim say whatever they want, because whatever they think about you is none of your business. Okay? Here's another example. Say that your best friend invited you over to their house to have dinner. And say that you say, yeah, sure. Let's do dinner. I'll come to dinner. And your friend says, hey, Gabby, since you're coming to dinner, do you think you can, bring some wine, maybe some beer? Maybe could you actually pick up a case of water? And you think you can grab like an apple pie or some lemon meringue or something, or, any pie that you like, a pie of your choice, etc., etc., etc. Now, you have options because you're in control of your mind, right? And your feelings, your emotions. You could get really super offended and get really bothered by this and let that lower your vibration and change your whole energy. And you can judge and say like, wow, damn, you're so rude. You invited me over for dinner, but yet you want me to bring all this stuff to your house. For that, I might as well just host dinner at my house and invite you over since I'm bringing everything. You know, you could go off because you're super pissed and offended and be rude, or you can manage your thoughts about the whole situation and say something like, wow, this is interesting. My best friend invited me over for dinner, but yet wants me to like bring everything for the dinner. And you have a choice. You could say, hey, you know, I appreciate the invite, but I'll come to dinner, but I'm not going to bring, you know, all that food. You know, I'll bring a bottle of wine. I'll pick a pie up, you know, one or the other. I'm not going to bring everything. I'm not going to bring the whole grocery list that you created for me. And by doing that, you're creating a boundary for yourself to take care of your mental health. And you could tell your friend that you're just not interested in going if you have to bring all that stuff to the house. And it's absolutely okay to do that without being rude and without being judgmental, because you just don't know what's going on in their household over there. Maybe they invited you to come over because they didn't have the money to, you know, have what it is that they wanted. I mean, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. You just don't know the scenario. Maybe they're super lonely but didn't really have, you know, everything to entertain you to keep you comfortable and happy. I mean, literally, it could be anything. You just don't know. But we're always so quick to be judgmental and rude and offended, instead of taking a step back and drawing a line and creating a boundary and speaking up, but doing it in a way that's not rude. That's why a lot of relationships and friendships have been getting destroyed, because people don't communicate anymore and people don't protect their mental health. They don't create boundaries. Everybody is just so super offended because there's a lack of communication. And that's all it is. It's a lack of communication. I partially blame technology, because so many people are so used to hiding behind a screen and just typing and talking that way. And there's really no emotion to it. And you can make shit up because they can't see you, so they don't really know what you're doing. So I blame technology partially for this lack of communication, and that's all it is. We need to do better as human beings for our mental health. We need to learn how to communicate with each other once again and connect with each other once again. You know, I'm practicing this because I used to be a very social person. You know, I'm Generation X. I grew up without all this shit. I don't need this. We had the power go down because of a bad, wicked storm that we had here in New York. We lost power, heat, everything. And the kids, well, my daughter, um, nearly lost it not having electricity or Wi-Fi, the internet to play her games. Yeah, I'm over here. I'm like peaceful. Like, this is how I grew up. I mean, I had electric, but I mean, like, I didn't need Wi-Fi and computers and all that stuff. I was okay living without that. It was kind of nostalgic and I liked it. For a couple hours, I was like, damn, this sucks, because even TV, um, you know, if we would have had power, like the generator, right? I could have hooked I did have the generator on actually, but because the TV is Wi-Fi, because all the shows from Spectrum, the cable company, you don't get a box anymore. You put an app on your TV and that's how you get cable. Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, all of that stuff. You need Wi-Fi. So if the Wi-Fi is down, even if you get power or use a generator, you still can't, play your games and watch TV. And I was okay with that, but the kids were not okay with that. So kids these days, they just lack communication. And we need to do better as human beings and start reconnecting with humanity because we are so disconnected. So disconnected. We're disconnected from neighbor. We're disconnected from humans. Like I was going through a phase where I'm still kind of going through a phase where I'm like, ugh, people. Like people are so annoying. I love a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. But some people they just don't know. Like they don't read the room. Small talk sucks. People lack intelligent conversation. There's really like whenever somebody sees me because I wear a Boston hat, they want to talk to me about the Red Sox and the Patriots. Like I used to be into that. I used to be into football and baseball. Now I don't care. Now I don't care about that stuff. You know why? Because it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't do anything for me. It just I'm not into it anymore. It doesn't excite me anymore. I don't care what's going on in Tom Brady's life. That doesn't affect me. They don't care if I was to get a divorce. What do I give a shit if they're getting a divorce? You know, people in the entertainment world, they they don't have a private life and that just sucks. But I don't know why we care so much about their private lives and what goes on behind closed doors. We're fans because we are entertained by, the gifts that they have. They're good players, they're good singers, they're good actors. And that's where it should end. We should just enjoy their gift, but allow them privacy. And as human beings, we don't do that. Anyways, I'm off subject. I kind of went off on like a mini little tantrum there, but you guys get the point, right? We lack communication. And because we lack communication, we have poor mental health. Okay? We and we've lost all control of our mind and our emotions and our thoughts because we lack the human communication. We lack communication in general. So if we could just master that and be more mindful of what we're saying to one another and how we're saying it and how we're feeling, and maybe try not to be so offended all the time and try to just maybe observe the whole situation of what's going on and not try to, pick it apart and read too much into it and point fingers and make assumptions, um, I think we'll all be happier humans. So you could always, you know, communicate back if you're not on board with what anybody is saying, or with the people that are in your life and how they're communicating with you. Um, you can always just communicate back to them what you want to say in a loving and respectful way. It doesn't have to be rude, and you don't have to be so judgmental because, again, you really just don't know what's going on in people's lives, especially nowadays. There's just, because we lack communication, we just really don't know what people are going through. People are really going through a lot, and they're doing it behind closed doors and computer screens. They're using the screen to mask their their fear and their sadness and their anxiety and their anger and their loneliness. And they just don't know how to reach out to people anymore. And they may say and do things that are out of the ordinary, and they may come off kind of rude. So just create some boundaries and communicate, but do it with love and respect. So manage your thoughts and try to, work on not taking things so personally. And in return, you'll experience emotional freedom.